Yeah, but I'm not 100% sure about anything as we talked this morning. I've got so many things going on at the moment around the club that I'm not sure about anything regarding injuries. There's 3 lads having fitness tests. I know that. Hopefully this morning rather than tomorrow. But you know, there's nothing else I can comment on really on that.
Lots going on, as you say. Umanias, is he going to be officially confirmed this morning?
I've no idea, if I'm honest. I think from what I can gather, it's something at the other end, at the Everton end, that needs sorting out. So you know, I thought so yesterday, but I didn't know there was a problem. So I'm afraid I'm a bit in the dark.
Is it unlikely then that he'll be able to play against Newcastle?
I think you would have to ask somebody else really, because I haven't got a clue.
Right.
Probably a phone call to Everton probably might be your best bet.
Is it likely to get over the line though?
I've no idea, honestly I've no idea. I thought it was over the line yesterday and I thought he was playing, but now I'm not sure. So that's all I can say.
Can you shed any light on what's happening with Emiliano Sala? We know he came over this week. You spoke to him, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean we're optimistic about that. It's, you know, I mean the figures quoted weren't, you know, I think it's around about £15 million or something like that, which is a lot. But you know, I think it's a figure that, you know, when you look in the Championship, etc., that's what strikers cost, isn't it? You know, I mean, we're lucky, you know, we're not in the other bracket where we can spend anything. I like him. He's a hard worker. He's not gonna you know, knock the walls down straight away. He's a hard worker, but you know, we need strikers at the minute. So if I could get them both, I would get them both, because that's going to be the difference between now and the end of the season, whether we can score enough goals, really.
Has he got his medical today, Simon?
I hope so, yeah. But there again, I'm not 100% sure.
So I've got to ask, Newcastle?
No, I don't think so. No, I think with something like that, you've got to do a proper medical, and you know, that's what I think, anyhow.
And what about your other pursuits? Mehmet Dalman took in Nice v Monaco this week. He
lives there.
He lives there. Just a day out, or was he possibly looking at Tamizi? Could that deal be resurrected, do you think? I don't think so. No, I don't think. I think financially, you know, I think we're doing as well as we can at the minute. So I don't think that would be, you know, resurrected. But you never know. You don't know. Things change day by day. You say financially you're doing as well as you can at the moment. Is that, are you going to have any more money to spend if you do Salah? Will you have more funds to spend?
I think we always knew that if we did something like Salah, we'd have to try and loan. I think we'll loan players if we can. You know, it's such a difficult market, January. So you know, and unless deals come up that the transfer committee think is viable for the club or good value for the club, you know, it wouldn't. You know, I think if they let me have the 2 strikers, like, for example, I'd forgo a midfield player. I think we need strikers more important, even though, you know, I'm not saying we're going to play them every week. And then, you know, I think we still need a defensive player as well.
And are you any closer to that defensive player? I know you're working hard on that one.
No, not really, no. I mean, yes, I thought last week there was a player coming over on Thursday for a medical, but apparently his wife didn't fancy coming over here, so should have had a chat with Kamaras's wife, shouldn't he, a partner. So I think that, you know, as always, the power, isn't it, in the relationship.
Let's talk about Newcastle, because I know there's been so much transfer talk this week, but this is a massive game, isn't it?
Well, it's a big game. They're all big games. I mean, it's a great stadium. I always enjoy, you know, 50-odd thousand. They're absolutely bonkers. They're brilliant fans. You know, what they've had to do over the last, I don't know how many years, but, you know, I've had some great battles with them, really, over the years. And they've stuck with them, whatever division they're in, full houses. You don't get that many. The North East, pretty special, Newcastle, Sunderland, regarding the fans.
6-pointer?
No, only 3, I think, at the minute. But I know what you're trying to employ. I think they will expect to beat us. You know, the way that, you know, whilst they have 1 or 2 injuries, you look at the squad, you look at the front players that they've got. You know, they're as good as any in the league, really. I think some of them. So, you know, I think one of you made a comment last week to me that our starting 11 last week cost 9.5 million. in the Premiership. You know, I mean, it's you look at Rondon, who's 20 million or whatever. You know, we're always going to be up against it. But we've got to try and give them a good game, really. We'll take a good following. I know they'll be up in, if they're still up in the same place in the loft there. But they'll make themselves heard. It's, you know, we've got a great following.
What do you make of the job that Rafa Benitez is doing now? Because
I don't really look at other managers, if I'm honest. I've got that much to do myself. I never look at other managers. I just, you know, why should I give you anything to report? You know, I've done my politics, haven't I? I think that's enough for this month.
Well, that's a shame, because I'm about to ask you about another manager, Marcelo Bielsa, and Spygate, as it's been called this week. What do you make of what's gone on there?
Like I say, I'm not commenting on other managers now. I've got enough on my plate, so I'll leave that to you lot. I'm sure you don't need my opinion. There's enough opinions about at the minute regarding that issue.
No, you've never ever been involved with anything like
I've never done a very good press conference like that, really, a detailed press conference. I was very impressed with that.
Yeah. Thank you, Neil.
I've given our IT lads a right going over for not having more information.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Neil.
Sorry.
That's right, no worries at all.
Ladies first.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. I do appreciate it. I was listening to John Crossley and Lee Dixon this morning saying that they were quite astounded by what you've done here at Cardiff City, bearing in mind, and they said, we're not saying this in a derogatory way, but it's basically a championship squad working in the Premier League. How does that make you feel? Is there a sense of pride in that, in the fact of what this squad has done and you've done with them to be in the position you are now in the Premier League still? Or is there a sense of, hang on, you're still underestimating us?
Oh no, I think the first, really. I think we all know that we've come quickly, you know, too quickly really in this situation, but the lads have all given everything, and that's why however the season pans out, I don't think anybody could have done much better. I think we could have defended certain games better and been a bit more positive in games where, you know, probably a little bit in awe of one or two teams. But overall, in general, I can't ask any more from my team, really, and that's what we are. You know, we're a genuine bunch, staff-wise as well, and we are absolutely swinging above our weight at the minute, you know, and but I think that's a massive, not just the players, I think the fans have played the part in that. I think they keep us going as well. I mean, they're amazed as well. They were amazed we got in anywhere near the playoffs, let alone automatic, and then amazed that we're where we are in the Premier League. It's just one thing after another, and now we've got 16, you know, really tough games again where we've got to conjure up points again, and you know, and it won't be for the lack of trying. You know, I mean, you look at the teams around us, and some of the squads, you know, they shouldn't be where they are, should they? Really, you know, 3 or 4 teams around us, you'd expect with the squads to be in that top half, wouldn't you? Whereas we are, you know, we've always been thought we're going to be fighting against it. Possibly people would have thought we'd have been right down at the bottom, but you know, I think you've always got a chance when you've got supporters like this, really, and that's been a massive plus for me.
How far does that influence your own feelings about your transfer policy here with Cardiff City? Because you have got this squad who do punch above their weight and who are fighters. So then when you're bringing players in, as you are now in the January Premier League transfer window, do you go looking for players that you know are Premier League players? Or how far does it...
A good championship.
Because it's the squad gels, and this is a very tight-knit squad, and it's players that are going to contribute something to the team but still work with the team. And I wonder what then you're thinking, do you automatically go looking for proven Premier League players, or do you think, you know what, I can take some...
Well, as I said a few times, I'm appalled that legislation means we can only have 2 loan players, because ideally I would have loved another English, you know, midfield player to give them an opportunity, and I think it's such a waste where Gareth Southgate says we're not getting enough games of English lads, that we have a rule that I can bring 10 in from abroad and I can't bring another young, you know, English player, whether it be a fullback or a midfield player. I think it's scandalous that. I suppose that they will look into that, because I think it's detrimental to England, really, that. But, you know, other than that, you've got to just do your own work. You know, I mean, the people that we're looking at are the type of players that will fit in with our squad. You know, you're not going to, we don't look at your Ronaldos, do we? The Salah's a hard-working lad who works his, socks off for the team, doesn't catch the eye at times, but a really manager's type of player. And Niassi, if he came, I did my homework with him and got a good rapport, got good reports about how he'd fit in with me, from Jagielka. Told me about his strengths and my strengths and how he could see it working between us. So, you just look into that. I agree with you. We can't be bringing players who think they're better than us or above us, and because it would just disrupt everything. And at the end of the day, we're going to fight to stay in that league, but the club's got to look longer term than that. And if we stayed up, it would give the club an opportunity to develop the club further and get more substance underneath the surface. But if the worst come to the worst, we would have an excellent squad to try again next year. Are you with me? So you've got to sort of balance it off. We all want to stay up because even you reporters enjoy reporting on the Premier League more than the Championship. I enjoy going to Newcastle in the Premier League than some of the ones in the Championship. I better not name them because I keep bringing them one or two up that I don't mean to insult. So it is what it is, and our fans are relishing every minute. If you give them a choice of where we are, I think they still pinch themselves now when they're on the way to these games. That we are actually going to these games. Whereas 2 years ago you couldn't see that. So immense pride in the club, and we haven't got to just sit on our laurels. We've got to do our best by hook or by crook to get up there, to keep up there.
How important is it that you like a player when a player is being brought in or it's being mooted that it's brought in, and you're very hands-on in terms of meeting them and talking to them? How important is it that you personally like a player? I mean, you can get all the information about how hard-working they are and what their sort of goal average is going to be and that sort of thing. How does the sort of your immediate bond with a player, how big a part does that play?
I think you've got to, the way I manage anyhow, I'm pretty easy to talk to from a player's point of view, really. Whether it's old school or what have you, I think that the relationship I have with my players is very special, really. That's why we are here as we are at the moment. So the complications are language-wise with new players, but I've got a lad, Callum, one of the young lads that helps me, and he's a wonderful. I took him with me when I met Salah, and he speaks fluent language, and then Sol Bamba is my assistant coach, interpreter, so he helps me out as well. And it's just that football's a wonderful game, really. You don't really need to talk if you've got all if you're in it together and what have you. But it has been enjoyable.
It is very obvious that you have a great relationship with your players, and I mean you mentioned people like Sol and obviously Shaw and as your skipper. What sort of conversations are you having with them over this period? Do you very much take them into your confidence about what you're looking for in the players that you're talking to, and do you sort of solicit, beg your pardon, do you elicit their opinion as well? Do you go looking for that as well? Or is it very much, well, no, I'm organising this, you just get on with the job of playing? No,
I've always involved my captain and senior players, really. Everywhere I've been, really. They always have an input. It's difficult, when you have to leave one of them out or something like that, but you've just got to deal with that, really. I think if you're honest with players, even though it might be difficult, I think if you're straight up with them when you leave them out and tell them the reasons, then they might dislike you for a while, but they respect you a little bit. So I haven't got a problem with that. I think it's important that the senior lads have the say, because like I say, we've come that far that quickly. I can't do it all myself, we've got Kevin and Ronnie with me, but we need help. We need help, and the senior players can give us that little bit of help.
If they suggested a player to you, would you go looking at them?
Well, we look at everybody. If a player came to us like Sol does, Sol tells us about Tom, Dick and Harry. We always put that, we always look at that. I mean, I mentioned the figure of 2,000 a few weeks ago, but it must be double that, really. And the chairman gets agents ringing him left, right and centre with names, and Ken Chew, the chief exec, gets names. So we have to thoroughly investigate. You know, I try and give him an answer within a few hours, whether there's a possibility or whether there's no chance, and why the agent's trying to stitch us up. You know, I try and educate them at the same time. You know, it's a, like I say, I'll be glad when the window closes now, and we can get on with the rest of the season, because it's going to be hard enough as it is.
Last two questions from me. You mentioned obviously about the situation with regard to only having 2 loan players, and you'd like to British-based loan players, and you'd like to see that change. Will you be taking an active role in that? Will you be lobbying the rule makers about this?
Just the league managers, really. I think it's just something to put forward at the Premier League meetings, really, because I don't think it was meant in a detrimental way. I still think you should only have 1 player from a club. You know, 1 player from a top, you know, whichever club you get them at. But I do think it's sort of disadvantage to young English players, rather than trying to help them, really, because there's so many good English players now. You look at the under-17s, 19s, 20s, whatever, they're all doing really well. So, you know, if Cardiff want to put one in the squad, surely it's got to be beneficial for a few months than playing in the 23s or whatever they play if they're not in their first teams.
And just on the subject of Newcastle, I'd be interested, obviously, you know, there's the Murphy connection with Newcastle.
If I saw him in the tunnel, I'd probably call the other one Josh. They look so like each other, don't they?
I suspect my mother probably does the same thing. I'd be interested to know what your thinking is on something like that, a match like that. If both boys are fit and able to play at the weekend, does sentiment ever come into a manager's sort of thinking when you've got a game like that? I mean, for example, say Josh was on the bench and Jacob was playing. Would you ever sort of, in the last 10 minutes of the game, 5 minutes of the game, put him on ever out of sentiment, or is it all just cold calculated what's right?
No, it's cold calculated. I think probably the Newcastle game at home, I actually took Josh off a little bit too early. I regretted that within about 3 or 4 minutes. I thought he was going to get physically some, you know, and I thought a change with it. But then I realised, you know, I shouldn't have done that, really. That was probably one of my mistakes this year, because straight away I thought, wow, we should have left him on, you know. But no, it's just on how I see, you know, the opponents, and if there's a weakness, or if I think we've got a chance of exposing something like that. It would never be done on sentiment, no.
Okay, fair comment. No,
Sentimental.
Well, you know, it's not.
Although, yeah.
It's not a bad attribute to have. Good luck for the weekend.
No, thank you.
Just on Josh Murphy, if I could, Neil, as well. He's been kind of in and out of the team more than he was at the start of the season. That Newcastle game is just an example of a game where he performed well. What is it that he's perhaps not doing in the last few weeks that you'd like?
Well, I saw the comparison last night with his brother, and his brother's not played 1 game, you know. So I think Josh is doing quite well, really. His first season, the number of games he's played. He knows what I feel in certain games, especially away from home, what he's got to do. And you know, I'm trying to instill it in him, because, you know, you've got to have certain disciplines at the level we're talking about. You know, you can't just be off the cuff. So, but he is learning. He is getting better. It's just, you know, it's work in progress, as you'd expect from a young lad in his first season, really.
You mentioned the team news right at the start of the press conference. The fact that you've got a few fitness concerns. I noticed Sean Morrison has been. Yeah,
he had a procedure on Monday, so I'll know more. That was a physio on the phone just now, so I'll know more when I speak to him. When I speak to the physio. And Mehmet was on the phone as well, so that might be other news. If it was the wife, I would have answered it.
And given the fact that Sean has been to hospital for this procedure, would it be safe to say that he's unlikely to play? Yeah,
I don't think so. I mean, I'll know more when I get back to the stadium this morning. But if there's any doubt, I won't play him anyhow. You know, I only want players 100%. We can't gamble on anybody at this stage.
With defence, I know you're looking for a right back. Would that be in part so you can play Bruno Calmanga back at centre back? Because if Sean was to be injured, for example, you wouldn't have that many options at centre. No, we've not got many options. You know, we're looking at a number of players. You know, ideally a nice, a bit like Bruno. You know, a versatile one. I think he's had a wonderful season, Bruno. I think on one hand the difficulties he's had at full back. Yes, probably not as silky going forward as
there's a lot of natural right backs, but I think he's done really well. But I do think his best position is centre half. I think he could be one of the best in the league, let alone Cardiff, at centre back. So, you know, I would like another full back, because I've not had many options in there. You know, they've all been injured. Jazz, I think he played in the 23s the other day for the first time, but you know, he can't really have a run without injuries at the moment. Peltz has just got back and looks sharp at the minute. So, you know, we're looking at that area. There's somebody ideally that could play full-back and centre-back.
I know the Nias deal has hit a few hold-ups, and I know the Salah deal hasn't gone through, but if they were to both sign, would you be looking to play them together? Will they be competing with each other for the same role? How do you see it panning out?
I honestly don't know in that respect. You know, levels of fitness. I spoke to Omar yesterday about his fitness. He's not played for a few months. Are you with me? So I can't see him doing 90 minutes. But Salah's been playing quite regularly. But you know, I think with something like that, I'd be very surprised if that gets done before 12 o'clock. I thought Niassi was done, if I'm honest, yesterday. I've only found out half an hour ago that there's a problem. So it's good to find out things like that when you're manager.
And just in terms of this weekend's game then against Newcastle, we've seen a few clubs improve recently. You know, Southampton, for example. How many teams do you expect to be in that shakedown for relegation at the end of the season?
Well, I think there's about 7 or 8 really, still around there. You know, one or two of them you wouldn't expect. You know, your Palace, you think they've got enough ammunition. But I think below that, everybody's in it, really. I don't think anybody's, certain. I'm sure they're all looking around like we are, hoping for results. I won't tell you, because there's part of it that's not really fair on him, but the rest of it's very good. So I did tell the player.
Right. Yeah. But he thought it'd be a good move?
He said he's my type of player, yeah. Said he'd do well for us, the way that he plays. All right.
His qualities, Neil, why have you gone after him?
Well, there's not, you know, when I'm looking to improve the squad, there's not many players available on loan like Niassi. You know, I mean, I was going to take Klein, and then Niassi would have been a no. I couldn't have done Niassi. So, like I say, I'm a massive believer in fate. So it probably wasn't to be, the Klein thing, and now this opportunity's come. But he's got a chance, like Victor, to put himself in the shop window, really. You know, and then even if we brought Salah, it's up to the lads who've got the shirt to keep it, really. I won't be changing it just because I paid money for somebody. It's up to the individuals.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Neil, they haven't had a great time at home, Newcastle. They've only won 2 Premier League games, but they won in the week in the cup, albeit in extra time. What is it about playing? You talk about the great stadium and they're mad for it, but playing at home seems to have a bit of pressure on them.
That I can't tell you, because I've never been at a club that's had 55,000, if I'm honest. It's just a wonderful stadium, isn't it? I mean, they played some really good stuff. Yeah. You know, if you look at the stats, they score a lot of goals in the first half an hour. So I would imagine we'll be up against it early doors. But that I can't tell you, you know.
Having said that, they've scored even fewer goals than you have.
I didn't know that. Yeah, because, crikey, that does surprise me with the strikers they've got.
It's only Huddersfield who've scored less goals.
Right. I saw us 3rd in the league yesterday. What was that league? Coming from behind, the number of points.
Careful.
We were 3rd in the league. We were above some big teams in there. Yeah. Please mention it.
But can you put pressure on them by thwarting them? I mean, is it a question of getting the crowd to turn on?
I think we've just got to worry about ourselves really tomorrow. You know, we have got problems. They said they've got problems, but I think of the two, I think we've got probably a few more problems than what they have. But we just have to go and try and give them a game. I think, like I say, I think they'll expect to beat us, and I think the crowd will. So I don't want to go there and just I want us to go there and be positive, really, at a place like that, because it's a great stadium to play on.
If you get a striker in, or if you get 2 strikers in, what you do with Callum Paxson?
I'll probably go 3 up front.
But I mean, it's been fantastic for you, isn't it? I mean, he wouldn't have expected to do what he's done.
No, it was one, to be fair, I shouldn't have played him last week. I kicked myself after. Him and Victor were nowhere near fit. I just felt we could get through that game. And we were so short of height that I thought we needed Patter at set pieces because they had so many big lads, Huddersfield. And Victor was nowhere near himself. Whereas on Monday morning in training, he's like a young pup again, Victor, and his eyes are bright and his fear's gone. Whereas in the dressing room on Saturday, he had fear in his eyes. He didn't think he was fit, and you know, I think he had people telling him he wasn't fit. So it was nice to see him back to normal on Monday.
But if you know, a big game obviously between two teams in the relegation zone, they go to Manchester City and Tottenham after this. I know you've got Arsenal.
Well, we've only got Arsenal, haven't we?
But I mean, whoever comes out on top of this is certainly going to have a bit of a boost. Well,
like I say, I would imagine they'll expect to beat us, you know. But I think we can give them, not just them, I think we can give anybody outside that top 3 or 4 a good game if we're on our game. But if we're not on our game, we'll get steamrolled like we have done in certain games.
Are you flying up?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a problem this season, is it? It was. Remember last season you flew a couple of times and it made all the difference. But
yeah, I think it's just what's done in the Premier League. You know, I forget where it was now, but it would have been something like 5 hours in the road. You know, because some of the lads do drive up, not the lads, but the staff with the kit and everything, and some of the. I mean, Friday. I don't know. Friday. I wouldn't want to go back to being a normal manager now. And you know,
like the thrills, obviously.
Getting the bus on a Friday. Yeah, at my age, it's lovely to fly. Yeah. I can't tell you. So it's you know, I think that's some of the perks, isn't it?
You said you'd had some great battles up there in the years.
Yeah.
The fans being bonkers. What's your favourite memory of them?
I think my favourite memory up there was. Where was it now? Well, a couple of them. One of them was when I was in bed with flu at home. I think we were at Notts County and we beat Kevin Bartlett, I think, scored. And I was listening to it on the radio. It was lovely, that, no pressure. It was lovely, that. And another one when I was at Palace, where we played really well up there and we drew, but I thought we should have won up there. I remember telling Alan Pardew after the game, "You'll get my job." He did. You know, and
you won't have that conversation with Rafa after this game.
No, but I mean, we'll have a talk. I'm sure we will. You know, he's. You know, I think what goes on in the past, you just get on with it, don't you?
You've always said that part of the art of management now is to manage upwards, to manage your relationship with the owner. How difficult is that, do you think, when you're managing a club that's up for sale? Does it make a difference?
I think managing upwards with any owner is difficult. If I'm honest, it's how you deal with it. You know, I think we've all got problems, you know. Some people publicly go, you know, and I tend to keep things under the surface if I can. I mean, really. So that's just how you deal with things, isn't it?
Is that much more of a key relationship than when you started managing that one upwards?
Well, I think, you know, if you have a relationship upwards, you know, I think you've got better chance. You know, I think, well, I couldn't have done this job without Mehmet. I think he knows that, and it's good that he's been working on these transfers because he now knows how difficult it is. It's been, you know, wonderful to see him shattered at the end of the day and talking to me. He's done brilliant for me, and Ken Chu's been trying his hardest as well. It's so difficult at times, like I say, but I can't fault them.
Is it much harder than it was?
Yeah, a lot harder. I think it's because of the standard we're talking about. You know, I mean, you know, in the Championship, when you spend some sort of money we're talking about, you know, you'd want the best player in the country. Are you with me? Where it's all changed now. What can you get for certain amounts of money now? It's, you know, just another player, really. It seemed to be normal, or almost standard to pay that sort of money. So, you know, and you know, at this stage you can't tell whether a player's going to be a success or not when they come in. You've just got to. Oh, I mean, from my point of view, even though that I'm spending money on the strikers, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be in the team. As daft as it sounds, it's just that we need more numbers. We can't be left with just poor old Patter again in the second half of the season. And I don't know whether Ken's going to be fit. I don't know whether Ward is going to be fit. So we have to get strikers in, and that's what if I had a choice of a midfield player or another striker, then I would always go with another striker, really.
Just on the significance of this game, Neil, you said it's not a 6-pointer, but the fact is you could be in the relegation zone this weekend. If that were the case, does that have any effect on your squad's morale?
I think we've been in there a few times this season, really. I don't think we've always been out of the bottom three. I don't think the way we play it affects us. Nobody wants to be in the bottom three, do they? But there's bigger clubs than us being in there. You look at the clubs around us. So no, I don't think. I think we've just got to try and reorganise ourselves and get the best out of what we've got for the remainder of the season, really. And like I say, I'll probably be pleased when the window's closed and we know what we've got, and then it's just a matter of getting the best out of them for the last 14 games. Then,
so do you reset once the window's closed and just, you've got 15 games left?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, things might change before the window. We might get other injuries which warrant to try and bring somebody else in from a different position. Are you with me? We're already talking about if we did get another injury in a certain area, we might have to, change our targets, really. So that changes in the next couple of weeks, really. We've only got one more game, haven't we, after this? The Arsenal game.
Given Newcastle where they are, given the further for the game up there, they shouldn't be in this position, should they? Well,
I think that you can say that about a few teams, can't you, really? I mean, I look at the squad, some of the squad with envy, really. Some of, the Southampton squad and Newcastle squad. I think that, they've got really good players in that area. So, but we're in there and we've got good players. You tend to forget about your own players. I think we've shown that we can play well. I think one or two of our lads have lifted themselves as well, and I think Victor's shown us another dimension. I don't think he thought he could have played as well as this. So it's been a massive plus for us with that.
Are you a Jackie Milburn fan?
I think when you look back at I think I've got a Malcolm McDonald shirt, the old-fashioned one with a tie-up on the front, and I think I've still got that in my loft. I'll have to give that a charity because my wife won't let me keep any more of them, so I'll have to dig that one out. But no, it's just a tradition into Newcastle. The number 9s and Newcastle, it's just such a wonderful club. When you drive up there, it's it's the life and soul, isn't it, up there? That's what they live for, the fans, and they get frustrated, but they're wonderful when they're behind you as well. So let's hope, I hope we can, cause a few unrest.
And Rondon seems to be starting to get into that.
Yeah, I would have liked him. Yeah, but not to be.
Gavin, the deal is done, I understand, according to the chairman.
Is it? Oh, right, and the acid deal's done.
Can you play him tomorrow?
That's what he's saying, yes.
So will you play him tomorrow?
That's what he's saying. I've got the opportunity.
Right, okay.
So how are you feeling about the fact the deal is now done?
Well, I'm relieved because, I thought it was done yesterday. So to find out this morning, it's been a little bit unrestful, or something I could have done without. But like I say, it's nice to know that he's available for selection.
How do you feel? I mean, the fact that things did get a little bit delayed, and we understand from the Everton side of things, how frustrating is that as a manager? I appreciate it is frustrating, but in terms of, the other club actually pulling their fingers out and getting it sorted?
Well, yeah, but you've got to understand that it's not the be-all and end-all to Everton that we're having Niasse on loan. Are you with me? They've got their own problems and things, so they have to do it right. I don't mind as long as I know. When I didn't know last night, I thought it was done. So I'm disappointed to find out this morning that it wasn't done. If I'm told I can cope with it, it's when I'm not told that there's a problem. But it's all sorted out, and I can just now concentrate on the game.
Nice to think about that. Just one final one from me on that. Did you know, because I know you and I are both dog lovers, do you know that he brings 8 dogs with him? Yes.
Does he?
Yeah, he's a big dog lover.
Dear. Do well in a 1-bedroom apartment.